So the forts were garrisoned for their protection of the factory and got the permission from the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to trade without paying taxes against an annual payment. Right, so any trader, whether it was a Indian trader or whether it was a European trader, they were supposed to pay tax to the king who used to rule that place for carrying out a trade. But Aurangzeb, he gave the permission to the Britishers to carry on their trade without paying the tax. Right. So then later on comes the expansion of the British rule between the 1757 century and the 1857 century. By this time, the East India Company was in a race to earn more and more money. As per the order passed in Bengal, only the company availed the benefit of tax-free trading. However, many officers who were engaged in a private trade did not pay the taxes as well. So what does this mean? That means the Aurangzeb had given the British East India Company not to pay the tax, but with as the British East India Company had come to India, along with that, many small private traders from different European countries had also come to India who were trading in India, and as and when they saw that the British East India Company did not pay any kind of tax, even that small private traders, they also stopped paying the taxes to the kings. As a result, the income generated from the tax collection in Bengal reduced, which in turn was opposed by the Nawab of Bengal. So at that time, the Nawab of Bengal was Murshid Kuli Khan. So the Murshid Kuli Khan did not like this thing at all, right? Because his income was reduced because of the non-payment of the tax. This dispute kept on recurring even during the time of Alivardi Khan, that is after Murshid Kuli Khan, right? The king who took away the throne was Alivardi Khan. After Alivardi Khan, his son Siraj Udollah took charge. That means after Alivardi Khan came Siraj Udollah. He got invited into a major battle with the British. So when Siraj Udollah came, even at that time, the same situation was prevailing. That was the Britishers did not pay the tax at all, and this thing was not liked by Siraj Udollah at all. So he had a great dispute with the Britishers, and as Siraj Udollah was very strong, the Britishers had to plan something very strong to uh, make Siraj Udollah defeat. Right. So further we'll see, that is Battle of Plassey. So Siraj Udollah became Nawab of Bengal in the year 1756. Right. He had an overwhelming influence over the British. That means he had a great influence. Right. The Britishers were scared of the Siraj Udollah. That means the Britishers knew that Siraj Udollah was a very powerful king, and it was not easy for the Britishers to make Siraj Udollah lose the battle. Okay, so the British helped the competitors of Siraj Udollah by conspiring against him. So here conspiring means to make secret plan, right, with the help of other people in order to uh, defeat the other person. So this Britishers, what they did, they took the help of the enemies of the Sirajudullah, right? So they came in contact with the enemies of Sirajudullah. They made secret plans, and they made plans how to defeat Sirajudullah. So they may conspiring against him so that he would not remain on the throne of Bengal. There were frequent conflicts with the British merchants regarding payment of taxes. When British merchants failed to pay taxes, which were applicable to both Indian and foreign merchants, the situation came to a boil. situation came to a boil means the situation become extremely difficult, right? He ordered that the British should not fortify the factory, pay the taxes as per the rule, and trade as per the terms and conditions. So Siraj Uddola, as we have means as I told that he was a very strict ruler and he was very much powerful. He gave the Britishers that they cannot fortify their forts. So as I told in earlier previous part that to fortify means to build huge walls across the forts in order to defend themselves or in order to safeguard or protect themselves. So Siraj Uddola told the Britishers that they cannot fortify their forts and they have to compulsorily pay the tax to him. Okay, so this provocation was enough for Siraj to opt for war. So the Britishers they told Siraj Uddola that they won't be paying any kind of tax, and this thing made Siraj Uddola very angry, and he decided to fight a war against the Britishers, and he succeeded in expelling the British from Calcutta. So when he fought with the Britishers, Sirajudullah was successful and he removed the Britishers from Calcutta. Right. So as this news reached the other British officer whose name was Robert Clive, right? He when came to know about this thing, so he was ordered to take the situation under control. So we'll look further. The British counter attacked under the leadership of Robert Clive. So again, Robert Clive was a British officer. Okay. So Clive bribed Mir Jafar. Again, who is Mir Jafar? So Mir Jafar was the commander in chief. So commander in chief means the person who is the head of the army. So Mir Jafar, who was actually the commander in chief of the army of Siraj Uddola, the British officer Robert Clive bribed him. Right. So how did he bribe him? That means the Clive he bribed him by giving him a promise that if he would help the British army to defeat Siraj Uddola, then they will make him the king of that place. So we'll read out the paragraph. So, the commander in chief of Surajudullah, with a promise to confer the throne of Bengal to him, and convinced him to join their side. With the help, with his help, Robert Clive defeated and murdered Sirajudullah. So, actually, what happened when a fight took place between the Sirajudullah and the British army led by Robert Clive? So, already Mir Jafar was on the side of the Britishers, which actually Siraj Uddola didn't know. And he left the army in between, and within half day, the battle got over. Siraj Uddola was defeated and he was murdered by the Britishers. So this was the first war which was fought by the British company in India, right, which marked the beginning of the British rule in India. So actually the Britishers they had come to trade with India, but this was the beginning of their rule in India. Thus this war is considered to be the turning point in the history of India. Right, why it is considered as the turning point of the history in India? Because if the Britishers did not have fight or the war, and if they didn't win this war, it might be possible that the Britishers could not have been able to take control of India. Right, so we'll move further. Yes, now next is Battle of Buxar. So as it was promised by the Britishers, Mir Jafar was made the Nawab of Bengal. Then, as the task of the Robert Clive was also over, so he was also sent back to England. And slowly and gradually, as time passed, now Mir Jafar had become the Nawab, and as and when time passed, Mir Jafar became hostile towards the Britishers. Hostile means unfriendly. How? So uh, actually, the Britishers did not pay the taxes and anything to Mir Jafar also. So even he, after becoming the king, didn't like this thing, and he constantly had fight with the Britishers. So the company decided to replace him with his son-in-law, Mir Qasim. So his son-in-law means Mir Jafar's daughter's Mir Jafar's daughter husband, right? So the husband of Mir Jafar's daughter was Mir Qasim. So he was made the Nawab of Bengal, and Mir Qasim was an efficient, disciplined, and a clever ruler. Okay, so he was not a stupid fellow, he was a very clever ruler. And again there arose a problem for the Britishers, right? Why? Because the matter was the same. Even Mir Qasim, who was made the Nawab, he didn't like the Britishers not paying any kind of taxes to him. So therefore again there was a problem between the Nawab Mir Qasim and the company, right? Which ultimately brought both the forces face to face with each other. That means there was again a battle fight between the Britishers and Mir Qasim. So in 1763, Mir Qasim was defeated by the company. That means Mir Qasim lost the battle and he escaped. So luckily he was able to escape the place. Then later on, what did he do? That is, he reorganized his army because he wanted to fight against the Britishers. So he reorganized his army along with the forces of Nawab of Oudh, Suja-ud-Dawla, and Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. That means these were some of his friends whose help Mir Qasim took, and again he formed his army, and again he tried to fight with the Britishers. So their combined forces, that is the Mir Qasim forces of Nawab of Oudh, Suja-ud-Dawla, and Mughal Emperor Shah Alam, all these kings and their armies together tried to fight the British company in Buxar. Buxar is the name of a place. In 1764, the British East India Company again won the war, and all of a sudden, that is, after winning the war, the territories of Nawab of Oudh, Sujaudullah, and Mughal Emperor Shah Alam, right? So they were the kings. Even their territories were also taken away by the Britishers, and so due to that, Bengal, Awadh, that is right now Lucknow, and other Mughal empire came under the control of the Britishers. So as now the Britishers, they had become very much powerful. They had a huge territory under their control. So the British needed someone to control those territories, and again Robert Clive, who was sent back to England. Again, the British government, they sent Robert Clive back to India in order to take charge or to control the territories they have won. So Robert Clive was sent to India to take control of the situation. That's how the East India Company, a trading company, so actually it was a trading company, emerged as a political power in the subcontinent of India. Okay, so this is how the European countries came to India, and amongst them, that is the British people, they were able to attack the other Indians and gain political power in India. Okay, and later the rest is the story. We all know that the Britishers, they ruled India for almost 200 years. Okay, and how the Indian people were treated. So here is the end of the story, and thank you so much for watching the video.